What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. So today's video, we're going to be talking about X-Men number 10 by Jonathan Hickman and Lionel Francis Yu. And this one is weird because we literally just had Empire X-Men number 1 and now we have X-Men number 10, which appears to be an Empire tie-in. So I guess I'm doing more Empire tie-ins than I originally planned on. I'm not even covering the main story of Empire, but yet here we are. Anyways, point of the matter is that we are going to be talking about this book today, and we're going to be talking about the potential threat of the Kotati invasion and how it may have just set its sights on Krakoa. More importantly, we're going to talk about Vulcan and why there may possibly be two of them, or maybe something worse is going on. We're going to talk about all that and more right now, I promise. But first, wash your damn hands and let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple eyes. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Before we get started, if you want to see more awesome comic book videos like this one, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click.
Okay, so let's really dig into the meat of this. Basically, what you need to know is that the core X-Men book by Jonathan Hickman and Lionel Francis Yu is a series of one-shots, which is why they don't necessarily always seem to focus on the same story every single issue, though there have been some exceptions. This is actually a callback to something that happened, I believe it was in X-Men number 8. More importantly, War of Kings. That's right, we're talking about the character Vulcan, long-lost brother of Cyclops and Havoc, and a one-time X-Men villain who is now suddenly reformed as of Dawn of X. Well, it just so happens that we had no idea exactly what was going on with Vulcan. He acted different, he seemed to have different speech patterns, he seemed to suddenly be reformed, even though he was, last time we saw him, very much a bad guy. The last time any of us saw Vulcan, he was locked in a battle with Black Bolt and fell into the vault. He was presumed dead, and we were honestly left to think that for quite some time, and Black Bolt, we learned, was not actually dead. He did survive it. He did escape the vault. But when we got back into Dawn of X and we had these questions and suddenly Vulcan is here, and we're like, oh, okay, well, maybe they realize, oh yeah, he's in the vault. He's probably never coming back, and they rezzed him. That was seemingly the idea. And we noticed that, yeah, he's drinking a lot, and probably mostly to dull the pain in the memories, because he is having nightmares and dreams every night about the vault himself still being there. And what makes things even more interesting and all that, in the same issue, X-Men number 8, we learn that thanks to some Shi'ar files, some information that was redacted and then uncovered, is that Vulcan, like Black Bolt, never died. So it also begs the question, was he actually resurrected? There was some hints earlier in the series that maybe he was, but maybe he wasn't. But whatever was going on, when he was in the vault, he was found by something. These mysterious creatures seem to have recovered Vulcan's body, and not only that, they have broken him down, and they have discovered the power, the true power that lies within him. You know, he keeps always talking about how there's a fire burning inside him, and quite literally, yes, there is, but there's something else going on here, something far more sinister. And it seems like whoever these villains are, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as familiar with, so if they are anybody of import, I have no clue who they are. But we don't really know exactly what it is they're doing to him, and it's not till Petra and Sway, they're trying to have their little margarita fandango. Vulcan doesn't really want to have any part of it, but when he goes to, walk the rest of the moon to, try and clear his head, he runs into the Kotati, who have made it to Earth's moon and are basically staging for their invasion. And one of the things I found really interesting about how Vulcan handles this, he just walks right into the middle of what they're doing, and it's just talking, not incredibly spicy, but is not incredibly not spicy. Letting the Kotati know, like, oh, you guys are out here plotting an invasion of Earth? Ooh, man, that ain't a good look, but man, y'all might want to stay away from Krakoa. I mean, if y'all are gonna come to Earth, yeah, that's cool, but I mean, I wouldn't do it, man. I wouldn't recommend it. Even going as far as say that he understands why the Kotati are doing what they're doing. He gets it. He said humans are terrible. They're not as as good as they think they are, and they're far more evil than they realize they are. They are not good people, and it's something, I mean, heck, you could even say that about humanity today in real life. Humanity is the shits. It's the drizzling shits, and I'm sorry, but yeah, there are, we have way more evil perpetuating the earth than we do good, and Vulcan's not wrong there. That doesn't mean that you should destroy something because, you feel that way, because at the end of the day, what does that make you? You think that these people over here are awful, but if you slaughter them, you honestly don't become any better. It's kind of like how they say when you kill a killer, there's still the same number of killers in the world, or something along those lines. I'm sure it's been more eloquently said that, but the Kotati, when they get their hands on Vulcan, they actually are able to overpower him, even though he does admit that he wasn't really trying. And even though he speaks their language, they don't believe anything he says, so they are about to implant him in something that is basically going to make him tell them the truth. Yeah, or at least what they think is the truth. But this is when we realize that some of Vulcan's memories are starting to come back to him. The fact that he was, taken apart, ultimately, by these creatures in the vault, or whoever it was that found him. And the thing is, these creatures, whatever they are, they realize there's something wrong with Vulcan. But it's not like, cancer or, like an STD or anything, though they probably view it that way. They see that in him is something that is an anomaly, something that is what is considered an imperfection, and it's the fact that he does, in fact, have goodness in him. He does have, even if it's only a shred at that time when he was found, he still has some modicum of goodness in him, and what they decided to do with that is place something underneath it. You see, they don't want him to become a good person. They want him to flourish as a mad tyrant bastard. You see, these guys, they have plans for Vulcan. They are going to do something with him, we just don't know what, but apparently they are ready to unleash him on the world, and they don't want that goodness in him flourishing. They're going to allow the goodness in him to stay. They're going to send him back to Earth, back to his universe, with something terrible and incredibly destructive lying in wait underneath that thin veneer of what appears to be humanity. It's when the Kotati use this weird plant creature thing to try and get the truth out of him that all of this comes out. You see, they even by their words say that the real Vulcan was buried alive in a shallow grave underneath his humanity. The real Vulcan that I believe just got dug up. Vulcan begins unleashing his powers in ways we haven't seen him do since War of Kings, and he starts murking Kotati left and right, killing every last single one of them that he can get his hands on, save for one. One of the things I think is very important to take note here is the fact that, yeah, even though this just happened, Vulcan doesn't seem incredibly pleased by it. He knows that something's wrong. He wants to fix it. He doesn't want to continue feeling the way that he feels. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of good story here to tell, but I think the thing that's really telling is the fact that what Vulcan just did has now drawn the attention of the Kotati to Krakoa. Unfortunately, like I said, he killed all but one of them, and that one was able to get a message back. And the Kotati have no context for why the person said this, but basically what they said was Krakoa, basically giving the Kotati a name for their new enemy, assuming that, oh, well, this guy wiped out our entire squadron. It was Krakoa, that's who did it. The funny thing about this is it could also be meant to go the other way. It could have also been meant to say, hey, we probably shouldn't go there, but you never know. It could go either way. But it's one of those situations where it's like, if somebody came and did this to my people, man, I don't know, man. I would just let that one ride. We would just charge that one to the game and let it go. But but in this case, I see what the Kotati are after, and this kind of draws the X-Men further into the Empire conflict, which is something that I originally didn't really want. I didn't really want the X-Men involved in this. But yet here we are, they're involved. And it could be interesting, but I'm very curious to see more about what's going on with Vulcan and learning more about his past with the Fault and what's going on now. Like, I feel like, honestly, if I had to make a call, I had to make a snap judgment right now, I would say the Vulcan that we see before us is in fact the Vulcan that came from the Fault. Technically kind of hinted that maybe he was resurrected. I don't think that was really the case. I think that, yeah, or maybe he was. I don't know. It's so weird. I don't know. It's very difficult to say. Though I will say this, instead of making a full-on decision, I will say there are two things that if we keep reading this wouldn't surprise me. And those two things would be that A, the Vulcan that we see before us is in fact the original Vulcan who was sent back from the Fault, as though it may seem it was the case, which, I mean, honestly, it's kind of more what I'm leaning towards. I'd be less surprised. I'd be ridiculously unsurprised if, yes, this Vulcan was alive this entire time. He came back, he just doesn't have any memory of how he got back, or at least maybe up until now. That would not surprise me. But on the other hand, it wouldn't surprise me if they did in fact resurrect Vulcan and the real Vulcan is still out there somewhere, though that wouldn't make as much sense. So I guess, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and lean on the fact that, yeah, this is in fact the original recipe Vulcan. This is not a res. This is someone who was, you know, they're back. They just don't know why. But anyways, I really like this issue. This issue actually, and once again, like every good story should leave you with more questions than you have answers. Yeah, because it keeps coming back for more, and that's kind of what sequential art and storytelling is all about, to get you to come back for more. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about the state of Vulcan. Do you think that, yes, this is the original recipe Vulcan? Do you think this is the res of Vulcan and another Vulcan is still out there somewhere? I don't know, you tell me. Like I said, I'm kind of leaning more towards the former than the latter, but you tell me what you think. Wash your damn hands and sound off in the comments. So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in $1, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus ultra.